interrupt this program for a TV6 First Alert Severe Weather Update.
It is 7 o'clock here on your Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kiel, along with meteorologist Kevin Phelps and Kyle Dickens in the Weather Center with this First Alert Severe Weather Alert. We have a line of severe thunderstorms with damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and the potential for a couple tornadoes heading right toward the Quad Cities. So we're going to be wall to wall with you because this is a very dangerous line of storms. Right now, portions of Iowa, Johnson, Louisa, and Washington County are under a tornado warning for an observed tornado near the Kelowna and Wellman areas that's tracking off to the northeast. But this line itself is tracking off to the east here at a pretty good clip at about 55 miles per hour, so almost highway speeds. So we're going to put a track on this line of storms. We're going to extend this out across the Mississippi River because, again, this whole entire line is likely going to be warned as it continues to plow to the east. So Mount Pleasant, you have about 8 minutes or so to find your shelter place. Get in there right now. That'll be about 7:09, 7:19 in Muscatine, Durant. It'll be in your neck of the woods at 7:28. Buffalo, 7:36. The Quad Cities Metro at 7:47. 8:02 in Joslyn and just about 8:10 in Clinton. Don't wait for these times to take shelter. Don't go outside and look to the west to see if the clouds are dark. This is a dangerous line of storms, and it's moving very quickly off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. And these are capable of producing 70-mile-per-hour winds as well as perhaps quarter-size hail. But certainly the winds are the main issue. And then let's go ahead and zoom into this storm here in Johnson County where we have that tornado warning. Again, near the Kelowna and Wellman area, that's where we saw that tornado. That's likely just to the west of Iowa City. And we have a couple of tornado signatures here along this line. So that's what we're concerned about along the leading edge of this line is that potential for a tornado. So I think most concern right now would be right here just to the north and east of Iowa City. They're right along Interstate 80 or just to the north. That's where we do have that potential for that tornado. And again, we've got the inflow coming in right here. So this is where we're getting the rotation here with the winds going to and away from the radar site in Davenport. So this is a very serious situation as this has had a history of producing a tornado in portions of Johnson County. Kyle, where's that tornado warning?
We got a new tornado warning here. This is going to take it into parts of, let's see here. We've got Muscatine County. We've got also Cedar County now under this tornado warning. This just came in here. We're working to get information on that.
It also includes Rock Island County as well.
Yes.
So I would fully expect everybody to hear your sirens go off here shortly.
Again, this is a tornado warning for that confirmed tornado that we were tracking here in Johnson County.
All right, so if you are in these areas, you need to seek shelter right now. Do not wait for things to really start to get a little noisy outside because, again, this line is going to be moving very quickly. It's got a lot of lightning associated with it as well. So there is that new warning right now. This goes until 7:45. This is for hail up to the size of quarters or larger, and this is, again, including portions of Cedar, Johnson, Jones, Lynn, Muscatine, and southwestern portions of Rock Island County. So this is going to be for that storm that has had a history of producing a tornado here off to our west. So Conesville, Columbus Junction, that's where we are going to likely be getting up to 60 to 70 mile per hour winds along this. Looks like we might have maybe a little bit of additional rotation there just to the east of Lone Tree. You'll notice the wind velocity, that possibility of up to 74 mile per hour winds. That's likely a little higher up on the radar, but down to the surface, it's likely about 60 miles per hour. So along this leading edge, this is where we are going to see the strongest winds. And again, we got a couple of kinks in there of rotation, and that's where we could get a quick tornado or perhaps maybe a stronger tornado out of this as well. So if you are in Tipton, Wilton, Muscatine, down toward Columbus Junction, heading into Edgington as you cross the river in Illinois, you want to seek shelter, even in the immediate Quad Cities. This is not in effect for the metro area, but very soon we are going to be seeing that warning be extended because, again, this line of storms is continuing to move very quickly here to the east at 55 miles per hour. We're on an hour loop here, and you can see that these were just outside of Johnson and Washington County about an hour ago, and now they're already entering portions of Louisa and Muscatine County. So this does not give you a lot of time to react. Notice that line has been warned all the way up towards Cedar Rapids and Anamosa. So this entire line is going to move through the entire TV6 viewing area. So we're going to be with you here every step of the way. Again, we've had a history of a tornado being reported around the Kelowna and Wellman areas. Is there still an observed tornado on that one?
They took the observed tag off, but there still is a very strong indication of circulation near Iowa City. But as you mentioned, Kyle, too, and I know Kevin has been pointing out, about is these kinks in this line.
Yeah.
This is the typical quasi-linear where it looks like it's a line, but you get these little inflow notches to form. And right here, just to the west of West Liberty, I'll point this out real quick as Kyle's checking some information, but right here, we get these little notches to form, and that's where you get those spin-up tornadoes. You get winds to move inside and kind of that coupling effect. And I'm sure if we take a look at that velocity, that will show that we might have some inflow going into these storms. But every update, every scan, we're getting some good fast data here, and that's thanks to First Alert Doppler radar.
And Kyle, just to the southeast of Lone Tree, we do have a tornado that's being reported right now.
That's
at TDS, a tornado
right
debris
there.
signature.
Yep.
So right there east of Lone Tree. So this is now into western Muscatine County. We have a tornado that is doing damage right now just
right
to the
there.
south of West Liberty, and right about there is where we do have that debris signature here on radar. So just to the east of Lone Tree is where we do have an observed tornado right now doing damage. And again, this is moving off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. So right around Nichols, this is where that tornado is, just to the west here. What we're looking at is the debris signature, and what radar is doing is looking for anything that is not precipitation. So we look for the off colors, we look for the whites and the blues here on the debris detector, and that's where we're seeing it just a little bit just to the west of Nichols, east of Lone Tree. That's where we have that tornado on the ground. So Nichols, it's over you right about now. At Alyssa, take shelter right now. 717, Moscow 721. Wilton 724, Durant 730, Walcott, this tornado will be close to you right around 736. So now is the time to take action. Again, this is moving very quickly at about 55 miles per hour. You're not going to be able to see this tornado. It's still a little dark now that we're just getting towards sunrise, so we don't want you to go out there. What we're seeing right here are tornado vortex signatures. This is where we do have the strongest rotation, and again, it's right along the leading edge of this line of storms, and it is heading toward the Quad Cities. So if you are in the Quad Cities metro right now, you need to be alert that this storm system is going to be heading your way. So there we go. We got that observed tornado. Hail is possibly up to ping pong ball size as well, but it's really the tornado threat that is most concerning right now, right around the Lone Tree and Nichols area, heading off to the east. And I think that individual tornado is moving off to the northeast as well. So again, the line itself moving east, the tornadoes embedded within this line would be moving off to the northeast. So if you are in these areas, you need to seek shelter immediately. That hail signature popping up, it's a little bit delayed because these storms are moving so fast. So you're going to get some damaging wind gusts. There is the potential of a tornado, and there is that potential of up to ping pong ball size hail. So looks like this might be just to the north of Nichols on the north side of town. Might clip the southwestern portions here of North Liberty. Maybe a little debris there just to the north of Nichols. Not seeing a strong sign of debris, which is good news because it might not necessarily be a very strong tornado, but it's a tornado doing damage nonetheless. So we have that observed tornado here in portions of Muscatine County, just to the north of Nichols, just to the west of Muscatine. But notice this bow in the line here. That's likely where we have those strongest winds, up to 70 miles per hour, that will be heading toward Wapello, toward Muscatine, heading into Rock Island and Mercer, Scott counties as well. So that's why we have that severe thunderstorm warning extending well out in advance of that line, because again, these storms are moving at highway speeds of about 55 miles per hour. So we've got the hail embedded in that as well. So right along that leading edge is where we have that highest probability of hail. That's where we're getting the most energy being pulled into the storm. So that's where we could get quarter to potentially ping pong ball size hail as this line of severe thunderstorms moves through. Kyle's going to put a track on this. And again, we're going to take this out of the warning because again, everyone's going to get warned with at least a severe thunderstorm warning. So this line of storms is going to be right over Mount Pleasant right about now there in Henry County, Iowa. Muscatine, about 10 minutes or so, 719. Buffalo at 736. Quad Cities Metro, we've been averaging between about 745, 750. So really about a half hour to 40 minutes from now, this line will be in the Quad Cities. And this is going to continue to track off to the east. Any more information,
Yes,
Kyle?
I would like to take a look here. We keep the one thing that is concerning is a couple things. The hail cores are increasing. So what that naturally means is that this storm is growing. The updraft is growing within this. But look at all these kinks in this line, especially this one that's in northwestern Muscatine County. If you're unfortunately the same areas that were just hit by destructive storms on Tuesday, you're in the line of this potential, not potential, we've got an observed tornado, and also the potential is there for up to 75 mile-an-hour winds with this. Is a very dangerous situation, and we continue with a tornadic vortex signature indicating that we do have strong rotation, and of course we've got that confirmed tornado that was confirmed by radar. We're going to take hail off here and we're going to focus on on those circulations. And the biggest thing to note here, folks, is, as Kyle mentioned, this whole line is got destructive winds with it, or up to destructive winds, as we've seen 70+ mile an hour observed winds. That is observed. But again, so everybody's going to see something here, and that's certainly the concerning part. But let's zoom back into where I think the most concerning situation is, and it continues to be this very well-defined inflow notch with that tornadic vortex signature over West Liberty. If you're in West Liberty, Atalissa, Wilton, Durant, shelter now. Get into your basements if you haven't already. This is a tornado warning with a confirmed tornado right now. We'll try to see if we can see. Look at those two inflow notches there, just to the south of Route 6. Here's another thing. Anybody traveling on I-80 needs to get off. You should not be out traveling. Anybody right now. If anybody traveling west out of the Quad Cities, get off. You got to let the storm pass through. This is a destructive storm right now with that potential tornado.
And the unfortunate part is the timing of this. A lot of you are getting ready to go end your work week and heading into work. Yeah, delay that right now. Everyone will be understanding, because this is a very powerful line of storms. We've had a report again of a tornado near the Lone Tree area, just to the southeast near Nichols, tracking off to the northeast. There might be a little bit of a tornado here just to the south of West Branch, and I'm monitoring our chat from the National Weather Service. Spotters are indicating that we do have a rotating wall cloud at the very least just to the south of West Liberty, so this might be going through a cycle where that tornado will lift very briefly, and then we'll get some more energy to move into it, and then it could reach the ground again. So again, it's these two areas that we are most concerned about here in portions of Cedar County, southwestern Cedar County, northern parts of Muscatine County, where we have that potential for a tornado with a storm that has a history of producing damage and a history of really knocking out power as well. Dustin Nolan was saying that there were more than 5,200 people that were without power in Keokuk County as these storms blew through. So these are packing quite a punch right here. And Kyle, what product are we looking at here?
This is the we're looking at is the wind shear, and this whole line, this section that is tornado warned, has got these pockets of very notable rotation. Once you start to see those lighter greens, that's where you do start to see that stronger rotation. And with this type of setup, it doesn't take much. Again, we're watching several areas. Let's take a look at that IDOT camera in West Branch, and let's take a look at that, and you can see, oh boy, yeah, look at that camera shaking right now. So this is impacting them right now.
And in addition to that possibility of that tornado, it's really those winds. These are capable of producing 70-mile-per-hour winds, and of course that possibility of maybe a couple embedded tornadoes with this. So you can certainly see the hazard lights are on. People are hopefully planning to get on this side of the road. So if you ever catch yourself out on the roads during storms like this, the best place to be is inside. Find the nearest gas station, a rest stop, something like that. You need to be inside with these storms because they're very dangerous. And on the leading edge of these types of severe thunderstorms, that's where we could get that brief spin-up tornado that could happen in a moment's notice with very little warning. Exactly. So we do not want to take these storms lightly. Kyle has put another track on this line of storms that continues to move off to the east and northeast.
This is going to be where this is at. I've got this mile marker pinned down. It's obviously there, but this is right where that circulation is. And look at the visibility continue to drop here. We're getting deeper into that storm probably. But yes, I do have a track up for you, Kyle. Those inflow notches continue to increase here, notably near West Liberty.
Yes, so Rochester 719, Moscow 721, West Liberty, excuse me, 723, Tipton at 724, Durant 730, Bennett 731, Buffalo 737, Dixon, Iowa 741. Do not wait for these times I just called out. Take shelter now. This is an extremely dangerous situation. We've had reports of tornadoes doing damage. We have the possibility of winds up to 70 miles per hour as these storms continue to track to the east. And again, as Kyle was mentioning, these are areas, I'm looking at you, Bennett, Wilton, that saw that destructive damage from Tuesday evening storms. These storms are heading right your way. So we're continuing to track some rotation here along the line. This might be a little concerning here off to the east of West Branch. That might be debris from a tornado.
And this is very close to where that camera was, and you saw that camera shaking. Those things are pretty well mounted on there. Yeah. We've for it to shake like that, double box it, and look at that right there. This is what we're dealing with right now.
So this is I-80 at mile marker 255.5 there. Is this in Cedar County or Muscatine County?
Yeah, and we've got a tornado debris signature
There we go. So we've got that storm that is going to continue to track off to the northeast. So West Branch, this is going to be the storm that is going to continue to track off to the northeast. So again, we're tracking a couple areas of rotation, one near West Liberty, and then one just to the east of West Branch there, right on Interstate 80. So this is what we're most concerned about here. So West Liberty right now, the storm is over you. You should already be in your shelter place. So we're looking at Wilton, we're looking at Rochester, we're looking at Bennett, Tipton. Sheltered now. This is an extremely dangerous situation if these storms continue to track very quickly off to the east at 55 miles per hour. And again, along this leading edge, not only are we concerned for a possible spin-up tornado, but winds could be in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. And without a doubt, there will be some power outages that are going to be possible as well. So we've got that observed tag here on that tornado for Cedar, Johnson, Jones, Muscatine, and Rock Island County. This warning goes until 7:45, but again, these warnings are going to continue to be extended eastward. And just a note, with these severe thunderstorm warnings that are issued as well, take them as if they're a tornado warning. Head to your shelter place anyway. Look at this camera. Look at the camera there on the left side of your screen. Again, that's I-80 westbound at mile marker 255.5. We cannot see out of it. The visibility is very, very low. We've got those very destructive winds, possibility of that tornado nearby. So we're going to continue to keep a very close eye on this storm. Again, we have that possible debris here just to the northeast of West Liberty that is continuing to track off to the northeast there in Cedar County. So if you are living in Cedar County, you are having the potential of a tornado and destructive winds, so you need to be in your basement right now.
Yes, and if we could come here to, I want to show something real quick here. If we can come to the BAM or do double perfect. What you're noticing here right now is what we don't like to see when we're watching these storms. Look at this. This is a bow echo, and within that bow echo, there are these embedded tornadoes, unfortunately. But Muscatine to Wapello, just because you're not under, well, Muscatine, you are under a tornado warning, but down towards Wapello, just because you're not, you're still going to see the potential for a destructive storm. So all the way down to Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant, you're through this now, but this is going to be moving into Des Moines County. This is going to affect the entire TV6 viewing area. Metro, it has its eyes set on us here within the next half hour to 40 minutes or so, as we said, about 7:45. But this bow echo will zoom back into it and toss it back to Kiel at the wall here so we can go back to that circulation. But definitely noting here, Kyle and Kevin, that we have several areas of circulation within this line. And we've got a couple, let's see here, a couple new areas of spin that we have to watch. But we continue with that tornadic vortex signature and tornado debris signature that is here near the Nichols area, and now that has moved off to the east. So these are moving so fast, it's hard to get.
Yeah, they're moving 55, 60 miles an hour. Yeah. So I've been monitoring the chat here on the stream. Lots of questions about the Quad Cities areas on the Illinois side of the river as well. Yes, this is all going to impact your area within the next 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So once a warning is issued, it might take some time for some of these storms to arrive. Just take your cover immediately. We have a lot of kids heading out to school, things like that. You might want to consider delaying that, as 70, 80 mile per hour winds certainly can do some damage. We saw that on that traffic camera out near West Branch. We're continuing. I would imagine this severe thunderstorm warning is going to get expanded onto the Illinois side of the river. Right now, technically, the metro is not included, but boy, by 7:45, 7:50, things are certainly going to begin to pick up.
Yeah, and great point, too. As I was racing in here this morning, the sirens on the Iowa side were going off. Yes, the warning is technically not for the metro, so your phones haven't gone off yet, but that warning does include Scott County. This is going to impact the metro. Now's your time to, if you've got anything outside that you need to move in and hopefully keep around, as Eric Maitland says, for another day, then do that now, because you don't have a lot of time. This is racing off to the east. One thing to know here, look at this, 78 mile an hour winds being indicated here. This is approaching the Wilton area. It's over Atalissa right now. We'll kind of zoom things out here. And I'm noticing another area of circulation pretty prominent here, Kyle, Kiel, to the north, just to the northeast of West Branch, but also near Atalissa as well. Kind of this whole line, this particular portion of that line really seems to be continuing to continuing to hold its own here with that rotation.
Yeah, and it's been that one just to the northeast of West Branch that has had that history of potentially producing some debris as well. We've seen debris being detected from time to time on radar. So again, it's one of these things where this tornado might be cycling as it continues to track off to the northeast, and meaning that it goes up briefly and then we'll get its act together and then we'll once again go down. So once again, this is a tornado warning. Now we've got just radar indicated here for portions of Cedar, Muscatine, and Rock Island County until 7:45. Again, it's really this Boeing segment that we're concerned about as well, with 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. So these are enough to do damage. These are the types of winds that did that destruction last week, or I should say earlier this week, in portions of Cedar County, which again is getting hammered again. Muscatine, Cedar County, very hard hit with those 70 to 90 mile per hour winds. And as Kevin mentioned, these are racing off to the east at 55 miles per hour. So everyone will be impacted by these. So you will likely hear sirens going off here very soon. These also have the potential to produce quarter to ping pong ball size hail. So a lot of all three hazards with these as they continue to move off to the east. These are producing some torrential rain as well, being whipped around by those damaging winds. So we're going to continue to watch this. Muscatine, you are on deck to get these very strong winds here next. So you need to take shelter now if you haven't already. And if you, right when you get that alert to your phone, because a lot of these storms that are going to produce potential destruction will get that alert to your phone. You want to take action immediately as these continue to track off to the east. So we're going to be watching along this line just to the west of Tipton there along the Johnson County, Cedar County line. That's where we've got some rotation. Rotation here just to the east of West Branch. Notice we've got the velocity popping up at about 75 mile per hour winds. Again, we've got to remember that the radar site here at the Mount Joy Airport, that's going up at an angle here. So we're getting those winds at a little bit of an angle, but we're getting closer to that radar site. So these winds are likely going to be closer to 60 to 70 miles per hour at the surface. Regardless, it's enough to do damage. So again, right now is the time to take action. We're watching, again, some kinks along this line here, especially along the northern portion of the line for that potential of some rotation. So you can see, again, these are moving very quick. We've got this hour loop. This goes off the radar screen. There you go. You can see it just to the west of Iowa City and Washington an hour ago. Now it is approaching Muscatine and the Mississippi River. Wapello, you're likely getting hammered right now. So as you do seek shelter, if you don't have a television in your basement, pull up your app. We're streaming on the QC weather app right now. We're streaming on our Facebook page. We're streaming on our YouTube page. We're on all platforms to keep you safe as this line of storms continues to plow to the east. Kyle Dickens is putting a track on the entire line because this is all severe or tornado warned. Again, moving east at about highway speeds. We're talking 55 miles per hour. So Muscatine, again, right now is the time to take shelter. It's 7:21 right now. The storms are knocking on your doorstep. Burlington, 7:35. Quad Cities, I would say a quarter till to about 7:50. These storms will be in the metro. Pleasant Valley, 7:56. Illinois side, Galesburg, there you go, 8:06. Clinton, 8:17. Morrison, Illinois, they're in Whiteside County just before 8:30, and about 8:45 in Sterling. So we're taking these about an hour and a half out to give you that early first alert that these are going to continue to track off to the east and are going to impact the entire TV6 viewing area. So any latest updates on the tornado? Do we have it just radar detected, or
just radar detected here at this point? Getting some reports. H&I down at Muscatine, they're all taking shelter now. So Muscatine proper, Fruitland, you all need to be taking shelter. Have some reports of a semi blown over out near West Liberty and West Branch, where we had that traffic camera here early. The best circulations right now are just north of Cedar Valley Park, out near Rochester there in Cedar County. So we're seeing that well evident there on the wind velocity. So folks that have been asking out from near Cordova, Eldridge, Atalissa, things like that, this line is all happening in your area within the next half hour. So take shelter now, even if you're not included in the warning. Say from DeWitt to Clinton, Joslyn, even Cole Valley, this line is going to be in your area within the next 30 to 45 minutes. That is why you need to take shelter now or start taking your precautions. This line is moving at 55 miles per hour. I just looked at the power outage map. Man, there's tons of power outages here along and south of I-80. This is heading towards our areas. So there's the West Branch live look there, traffic cam.
So yeah, we're seeing obviously some rain. It looks like the worst part of the storm is now east of West Branch, but even behind the initial line of storms doing the damage and where we have had those tornadoes observed, there's still going to be a lot of heavy rain. There's going to be some lightning, maybe a little bit of hail with it, but you can certainly see the hazard lights as these vehicles are traveling westbound. We're still seeing some very heavy rain behind that initial line of storms. So this is the scene out of West Branch there along I-80 at mile marker 252. That camera is still shaking kicking around a bit. So you can see by the wind velocities that we still have quite a bit of gusty wind behind these storms here. Again, this is the view from West Branch there along Interstate 80. And I just want to point out here on the radar that we have a couple of areas that we're concerned of rotation just to the northeast of West Branch, southeast of Tipton. This is heading right toward Tipton, especially on the north side of town. So if you're in Tipton, we are indicating a little rotation here along the leading edge of this line of storms, which is right to the southwest of you near Rochester. This is tracking off to the northeast individually at about 55 miles per hour. So this is going to be in the Wilton area south of Tipton around 7:25. Tipton 7:27. That's 3 minutes from now. This is likely going to be delayed a little bit. Do not wait for these times that are appearing on your screen right now that I'm calling out because it could be a little bit quicker as well. Walcott 7:38, Loudoun there in Cedar County 7:42, Wheatland 7:45, Davenport 7:47, Quad Cities Metro right around 7:50. Quad Cities, we're not necessarily concerned with a tornado at this point in time. What we're most concerned about is this bowing segment here near Muscatine to produce the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds as these continue to plow east. I bet you any minute now we're going to see this warning get a little farther extended eastward here into portions of Rock Island, Henry, Mercer County as well, perhaps even Whiteside County. All of this line is actually warned as these continue to move off to the east. The strongest part of this line looks to be moving through the heart of the TV6 viewing area right now. Portions of Cedar, Muscatine, and Louisa County are under the gun right now for that damaging wind that could be 60 to 70 miles per hour or greater. I know Kyle was pulling up some velocity of 90 mile per hour winds potentially. That'll translate to right around 70, maybe 75% or 75 miles per hour as we head into the damaging part of the storm.
Okay, we've got a camera to look at here, and this is going to be approaching this area here momentarily, and you can see that leading edge there. That is things starting to get a little windy, and so yeah, even though you might not technically be underneath the leading edge of that, this is definitely approaching your area. We're also looking at sky view as well, and it's still a little ways, but it looks like a shelf cloud is starting to form here, and that will be certainly moving into the region. Let's go back to radar real quick because I'm seeing an indication here in Cedar County of a renewed rotation, and that's going to be the thing, and that's probably why in that particular area, that northern quadrant from Muscatine County up into Cedar County, we'll probably see that continue with a tornado warning as this continues off, because technically speaking, you think about it and just how things work. The sun is now up, so we're gonna actually build some energy here, and these types of lines can go for quite a while.
Yes, and so again, north of here, we've got a tornado in portions of Linn County as well. So the northern part of this storm needs to be watched for some tornadoes as well. I should say the northern part of the line of storms needs to be watched for a couple tornadoes. Again, this is one of those things where you know, these tornadoes can really spin up very quickly here on the leading edge of this line. So we're watching here in northeastern portions of Linn County. This could clip Monticello here in Jones County. Anamosa getting hammered with some very damaging wind gusts as well. This is tracking to the northeast, so it's this part of the line that we're watching here for Wyoming heading into Jackson County right around Maquoketa. This part of the line is likely going to track eastward, so heads up Savannah up toward Stockton, Galena. That's where we are going to be noticing this part of the line, which could have the possibility of a tornado as well. So again, treat any warning you get, whether it's a severe thunderstorm or a tornado, treat it as if it's a tornado, because these winds could be destructive at about 60 to 70 miles per hour. So Kyle Dickens putting another track on here for us. This is going to be in Burlington, the southern part of this line. We haven't talked much about the southern part of the line, still doing quite a bit of potential damage as well in portions of Louisa, Henry County, Iowa, as well as into Des Moines County. That'll be in your neck of the woods here in less than 15 minutes at about 7:40. Again, Quad Cities Metro, 7:45 to 7:50. That's where we do need to be on really alert for those storms.
If we go to Max 2, Kevin's got a camera pulled up here.
I got a camera pulled up out near Tipton, Iowa. We got a shelf cloud rolling through right now. Just getting some reports in of damage in Muscatine proper. Power outages are starting to pop up down that way as well. Winds estimated 60 to 70 and even 80 miles per hour. Viewers down there saying the wind and hail was crazy. So if that's any indication there, areas is in the Quad Cities, Mercer County. You think of New Boston, take cover here at the moment, but that is that line moving into Tipton, Iowa. This picture was taken just about 3 minutes ago, so we'll keep close eyes on this. As we get our streaming cameras up and running here to our west, we'll be able to better monitor that situation. But as we've been talking about pretty much since I came in about 2:15 this morning, this line was marching through Omaha, Nebraska at this time, and it continues to produce severe wind threats. So treat any warning that you get as a tornado warning and get to your safe space immediately, because 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds are going to do damage. We've had semis blown over already to the west, and if that's any indication of what we can expect here in the Quad Cities, this is not something to mess around with. Right,
and the one thing I'm noticing here too, guys, is as these continue to move east, the winds are actually staying sustained for a little bit of time. It's not just that leading edge and you're done. This is not lasting a long time, but nonetheless, we are seeing this wind move in, and for about 5-10 minutes, you've got a pretty nasty storm over top of you. I'm continuing to be concerned here with this storm just in the Tipton area with that inflow notch. And when we talk about these inflow notches, what that is you get this red. The red is the winds moving away from the radar. Green is towards the radar. So radar, you see that spinning dome down there. That's where the radar is at Mount Joy at the National Weather Service. Well, this red indicates that the winds are inflowing or flowing into the storm, and you get this big pool of destructive winds. I bet you we got 70+ mile-an-hour winds right there just to the northwest of Tipton, or near Tipton now with how these storms are moving. And that's where you can see these spin-up tornadoes where that meets. So that is what we're concerned with, as well as that what we're seeing confirmed 70+ mile-an-hour winds. I'm going to back up here and put this in motion, and I'm going to kind of thin things out a little bit just to go down to the radar data itself and show just what we've got, and you can see the kind of the evolution of this.
And Kyle, while you do that, I'm just going to name off some towns that are in the path of this from north to south: Clarence, Loudon, Bennett, New Liberty, Durant, Bluegrass, Edgington, Buffalo Prairie, Eliza, Millersburg, New Boston, Keithsburg, Mediapolis, Oquawka, Burlington. This is right on your doorsteps. Within the next 15 minutes or so, these storms are going to be knocking on your doors. And again, we're talking about already some damage being reported out of Muscatine itself. Those storms just got in there, so things are just getting started, and we're already getting that damage. There's the latest track for you. You saw we've got Buffalo around 7:38, the Quad Cities at 7:50, Joslyn 8:05, Galena 8:08, Galva, Henry County, Illinois. So we're going well ahead of this at 8:17, and then Clinton, Iowa, right around 8:20. As this line of destructive storms continues to track to the east. Again, we're concerned for those spin-up tornadoes along the leading edge of this line, but the other concern is going to be 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds, enough obviously to do some damage. These are the types of winds that we saw on Tuesday evening that impacted our communities here to the north of the Quad Cities Metro. And again, it's along this line that we are tracking. It looks like just north of Wilton there, between Wilton and Tipton there in Cedar County, as well as around Tipton as well. That's where we do have some rotation as well. So we've got another camera that we want to look at. This is I-80 at mile marker 269. Obviously some lightning with these storms as well. Very heavy rainfall. The camera's shaking around a bit with some wind. So yeah, these storms are pretty charged as they continue to track really quickly to the east. Highway speeds at about 55 miles per hour.
Okay, and the one thing I'm noticing here, and this is concerning, and this is as Kyle has mentioned, when we look at this radar display here and we're watching this come into the viewing area, typically when we look at this wind velocity, we'll see it kind of wind down a little bit. That's because the radar shoots up into the sky. Well, look at this here near Tipton. Look at these colors actually getting brighter. Well, that means that we're getting closer to the ground here, and that means that we're getting a better look. And these winds are now approaching 80 miles an hour just outside of Tipton. If you're in Tipton, and really anywhere in Cedar County, anywhere in any of the counties that we have warned for, and I'll back that up and kind of give you an idea of exactly who's under what right now. We've now got an observed tornado on this. Observed tornado for this warning. So we now have back to that observed tag here, and there's that severe thunderstorm warning that now does include the metro.
Yes.
So this is that downstream warning. You've got about 10 to 15 minutes here in the metro, roughly. Get to shelter now. This is one of those deals where you want to treat it like a tornado warning, as we have these quick spit-up tornadoes. I'll get the information specifically on that warning that is now in place for the entire Quad City Metro, also into Mercer County, all of Mercer County, and also into parts of Henderson and Warren County. Considerable damage threat, tornado possible on that.
Yeah, so this has the potential to produce 70-mile-per-hour winds. So yes, for those of you who are going to be heading outside here very soon, you're going to hear those outdoor warnings start to sound in the metro area, as this has that potential to really do a lot of destruction. Can we pull the radar off to the west here so we can see these storms coming in? So again, that observed tornado is now in effect for that warning here just off to the east here in portions of Jones, Lynn, Muscatine, and Rock Island County. And I think that tornado was spotted here off to the north near Lynn County. So that's where that observation comes from, or that observation comes from. But again, we've seen some kinks along this line itself here, especially in Cedar County, where we do have that potential for a little bit of rotation. But again, if it's not producing a tornado, it's producing that potential of those 70-mile-per-hour winds. So again, Quad Cities Metro, you are now under that severe thunderstorm warning for winds up to 70 miles per hour a possibility. These are plowing through Wilton as well as Muscatine, heading down toward Illinois City, Edgington, in portions of Rock Island County. These continue to move east at 55 miles per hour. Grand Mound, you are included in this as well. I suspect that we're going to get this line warned here into portions of Clinton as well as Jackson County here any moment now. And again, this line does continue to produce potential damage even south of what we're depicting on the radar. But we're going to put a track on these storms right now. Again, within the next 15 to 20 minutes, Quad Cities Metro will be impacted by this. 742 around Buffalo. Kelowna, Illinois, there in Henry County, 801, Galena at 810, Clinton, no warning now, but now's the time to prepare. 820, Savannah, right around 826. So if you heard your town called, now is the time to take shelter. Take your cell phones with you. Stream us on your app. We will continue to keep you updated here on these dangerous storms as they continue to move east. Have had a history of producing damage, and we've had a history of a couple tornadoes as well. And a lot of these tornadoes will spin up in a moment's notice, so it doesn't give you much warning. So as Kevin has been mentioning, treat this as a tornado warning, regardless if you're in a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. So Kyle has zoomed us into Cedar County, just to the west of Bennett, east of Tipton. This is the area right now we're looking at the winds inside the storm. Again, we've got the winds going away from the radar site, the red. The green are the winds going toward the radar site. So when we get this couplet here, where we get the reds and the greens coming together, this is where we have the strongest rotation. So just to the west of Bennett, there is where we have that potential for that tornado, or at least maybe a wall cloud that could reach the ground for becoming a tornado. So again, with these winds, they're up to 60 to potentially 70 miles per hour. Again, the individual kinks in the line, they're moving off to the northeast as the line itself continues to track off to the east very quickly. So again, he's popping up some wind speeds in there at the radar level. They're at about 75 miles per hour. So that would translate to that potential of 60 to 70 miles per hour at the surface.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of, like I said, I like to kind of thin things out here, and so we can kind of see what this looks like. And as I mentioned, my concern is, as this is approaching the Quad City Metro, not only do we have these areas of circulation that we're concerned with, but I also am continuing to be concerned with, and I'll put the warnings back on here, I'm continuing to be concerned with just the fact that as we're getting a better look at this approaching the eastern portion of Muscatine County. I'll put the labels back on so we can see our cities, but we've got some bright colors starting to pop there, and this is getting closer and closer to the ground. So I would naturally say that we've got some winds probably right there. Look at that. That's pretty close to the radar. That's what's happening. So I bet if we see some of these traffic cams near Walcott, if we look west towards near Walcott, we will be able to see this, not only the shelf cloud, but this is going to approach that area. So
just for reference, this is the radar right here. So we're very close to the radar site. So it's concerning that we're seeing these very, very strong winds. So right near Durant, that's where we have the strongest winds. This is about 15 miles from the radar site there on the north side of Davenport. So Walcott, Bluegrass, heading down toward Buffalo, Edgington, take shelter now. Treat this as if it's a tornado warning. Again, we have had kinks in the line of the storm. So we're going to continue to watch these as they track to the east.
Okay, it looks like we may have had a new warning. Oh no, excuse me, that's a spike in the. Actually, that's interesting to see some of those spikes. I-80, I-280 camera we've got pulled up now, and those dark clouds approaching. That's certainly something that
keeps getting darker and darker.
It does, exactly. But I'm gonna go. Let's do this. We look at those and look at some of our other cameras. We continue with that observed tag here on that tornado warning. So this was a confirmed tornado near, and this